Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. We are going to do something today that actually does not involve me putting on makeup for once. For actual once, I'm going to cut down on doing my get ready with me. I didn't put out one this week, the get ready with me for work. I'll probably put out one next week, maybe, we'll see, but I'm going to, and I'll talk about this in the next get ready with me for work, that I'm going to be cutting down on the amount of videos that I put out, and we'll talk about that in a get ready with me video coming out probably next week. But today, and this is coming out a little late as well, we're going to review the palettes that I used in August. I'm still doing my project palette 365, where I use one palette, a different palette every day for the next 365 days. I started last month in July, so this is the second month I'm doing it. So we have 31 palettes for 31 days in August. So let's go ahead. If you want to see what palettes I used and what I thought of all the palettes, we're going to start with my least favorite, number 31, and work all the way up to my most favorite palette of the month. Then stay tuned because we're getting right into it. Okay, we're starting off with number 31, and that is this palette. I think I got it in a subscription box of some kind. This is the Bella Pierre 90s Glam palette. It's actually a eye and face book. That's what it's called. I mean, the formula of it worked out just fine. It's just a lot of repeat colors in it, and they threw in some colors. I think that blue might be a glitter, or it could be a shimmer. I don't know, but I don't know how to work it in with the rest of these colors. I did use this color right there. I don't know about this blush shade here. This is a little too deep for me. I'm gonna declutter this palette, I believe, but it's just the formula was good, but the color story just not doing it for me. So that's what ended up in the number 31 spot. I used this for number 30. I used this for a palette that I'm afraid of video, and I made a really cute look. I really did, but I just don't think I'm gonna be using this palette much, except for when I do videos like that, or collabs, or things of the sort. So I think I'm gonna pass this along to somebody who I think might like it more. I mean, it was a fine palette. The formula, like I said, the formula's good. These shimmers are really nice and everything. This is the Saint Angel Center Yummy palette. I forgot to say what palette this was, but this is that palette. And like I said, nice formula and everything, but it's just not something that I can see myself using a lot. And at the next one I've got, and I never thought I'd get rid of this, but this is the Violet Voss All of You Forever palette. I've just had this forever, and like it says, all of you forever, but I'm not gonna all of it forever, because sadly the shades just aren't as pigmented as they used to be. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. It's just old, and it just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I'm glad I got a chance to try it out and use it again, but it's 3 or 4 years old at this point. So the quality is just not there anymore. And at number 28 is this new one I got from Ipsy, the Icon box. It is the Il Makiage Color Boss Master. It's okay. It's this far down on the list because it's just okay. It makes a nice look. There's nothing special about it. The shimmers aren't that shimmery. It makes a nice work look. Makes a nice work look. I have these colors in other palettes, sure, but I'm gonna keep hold of it. Excuse me. And the next is the ColourPop Troublemaker palette. Now, I don't know if I want to keep this or not. I really don't. It's got a lot of mid-tone shades in it. It makes a nice dark look. I will say that. So if I'm making an evening look, but I have so many dark purple. Palettes. I think I'm going to keep it around for now. It does have some really pretty shades in it. I did like the look I made. It's just not really a daytime look, I would say. Again, did I say this is the Troublemaker from ColourPop? Yeah. So that's in that. And then I have the Unearthly Cosmetics Grind palette. This is number 26. I usually really like orange colors, and I can't find a way to use this green in there. I might have to keep this around another cycle and try it out before I give up on it. So I'm gonna keep it. There's nothing extra special about the shimmers. Nothing too extra special about it. But I do like this color here. And I gotta find a way to work in the green. I used this for the Sassy Divas collab when we were doing favorite fruits and stuff. But there's nothing, I don't think there's not really any special shades in here. Not really. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Next, I have the Villains palette. I'm not sure who makes this. I thought it looks like a Taste Beauty, but I don't see their name on it. I see that it was distributed by Centric Beauty. So nobody really, that's the only name I can see on here is Centric Beauty. This I thought was gonna be a big miss, but it's farther down on the list. But we're getting into more palettes that I like now. I did like the look I made with this. The shimmers weren't that great, that's why it's lower down on the list, but I did like the look I made. I used some of the blues, or was it some of the purples? I can't remember. I think I might have used both the blues and the purples, but I did really like the look that I made with it. And it came out really nice. It's just the shimmers weren't that shimmery. I wasn't impressed with the shimmers that much, but I did like this palette. I liked it enough to keep it around some. So we're gonna keep that up. Let me get some more palette. Okay, the next palette on my list is this Give Beauty. It's the Just a Girl palette. Let's see if I can open it up. It's a nice little palette. I liked it. It's a nice, there's 2 mattes and 2 shimmers. It makes a nice work look. This is a nice travel palette. I would take this traveling with me if I went somewhere, and just a really quick, easy look. It makes a really pretty look. I like it, and I like the shimmers. I really do. It makes a really quick, pretty look, and I like the packaging a lot. I really like the packaging a lot on this one. So we've got that one there. And then next we have the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette, which is a big honker of a palette. It really is. And I like this because it has these baked shimmers. The mattes are just okay. And they're kind of in boring colors. You got browns, you got purples, you got black, you got this is like a couple of light colors, but these shimmers really bring the palette together. I was making a look with it, and then made like a basic brown look, and then played with the colors on the shimmers, and it really made it look really pretty really pretty look. But points off for the mattes not being that great, but that is an oldie but a goodie palette for sure. Next I have the Dollhouse by Blend Bunny Cosmetics. This is still a really good palette, although I will say I give it points off because I think the colors are fading a little bit. I think the pigmentation is fading a little bit on it. Now I will say this palette is a couple years old, but it is a well-loved palette. I have used this several times, but the pigmentation isn't bad on it. It's just not as pigmented as you're used to seeing Blend Bunny Cosmetics being. So this was used in a Throwback Thursday, I believe, and yeah, I really like the look that I did with this one, so we got that one. Then we have the Fighter by Fantasy Cosmetica. We have this one. This one is probably not my favorite Fantasy Cosmetica palette, but it is probably their most neutral one. I will say that. I do like their multi-chromes that they have, and that's a really pretty color there. I like yellows and browns, but I don't like that yellow necessarily. Well, I will say I'll use the yellow before I use the gray. So we take the gray out, and I do like the color story a little bit better. So we've got that there. But it's a really good brand. I really like that. Really like the brand, and that is a good palette. Now this, I was like, why have I been sitting on this palette? This palette is really good. Like, we're starting to get into good palettes now. This is the Beauty Moon Cosmetics Boudica and Ice Cream Beauty Boudica palette that I got from an Ice Cream Beauty bag or box, something like that, last year. And oh my gosh, I think it's this right here, Lenacy. It's either that or Nero, but I think it's Lenacy. It looks pink here, but when I look at it here, it looks golden. I think that's a multi-chrome there. That on the eye looks so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And yeah, so yeah, the look I made using this was so absolutely beautiful. This palette is going nowhere. It makes me want to buy more things from Beauty Moon Cosmetics. Absolutely. So I'm glad I have that palette. And then next I did another like palettes that I'm afraid of or something, and I used the Gold Digger palette, or maybe not, maybe I just used this on a random Wednesday or something. I think maybe I meant to use it for a palette that I'm afraid of, but this is the Rasha B Cosmetics Gold Digger palette. And what are we up to? Number 19. I rank this as very high. We're in very high territory. We went from high, and Fantasy Cosmetica, the Fighter, was high, and then when we got to the Boudica palette, we're at very high. So this I ranked at very high. I love these purples in here, and I loved the look that I made with this. This palette does kind of intimidate me, but when I used it again, the formula is very strong formula on this one. I think when I got this one, I said, yeah, the Rasha B, it really has improved on her formula quite a bit. So I really like this. Really like this palette. Yeah. Let me get some more palettes. Okay, and the next one I have is the Ace Beauty Blossom Passion. I didn't think I was going to like this one that much because I haven't really used it. I bought it a while back, but I really haven't used this one. But I really did like the look that I made with it. You would think I'd like it because it's pink and purples, but it's not really it only has 2 shimmers. But I don't know. These kind of colors aren't really the purples that I like seek out, but and this is a straight up red right there. So, but I forgot which colors I used, but I came up with a combination that really worked out, and it really made a really pretty work appropriate look. So this is the Blossom Passion. It is coming in at number 18. So there we go with that. Okay, and the next is another Ace Beauté palette. It is the Flora palette, and I love browns and golds and yellows together, and I love this color, the shade here, right there. Not so much this shade, this red shade, but this right here is a nice little duo, maybe even a multi-chrome, I'm not sure, but it is fabulous on the eyes. It looks great on the eyes, this shade right here. And yeah, this palette is definitely going nowhere, and it's a good travel palette too. Okay, coming in next, we have some mega palettes. The first one being the Jeffree Star Cremated palette, which, you know, most people think is kind of boring, but I thought it was very diverse in its gray palette. And it makes a really nice look. So, and I thought the shimmers, I was really impressed with the shimmers in this palette, because usually with Jeffree Star, I'm not really impressed much with his shimmers. They're not that great. I mean, in my opinion, his shimmers aren't that great. But in this palette, they were nice. I don't know what the deal is, why they're so good in this palette, but in palettes that come after this, they're not that good. What's going on, Jeffree? I don't get it. So we have the Cremated palette coming in at number 16. And then next, coming in above the Cremated palette is one of my favorites, is the Stone Cold Fox palette. It has a little bit more variation on the cool tones, and I like the shimmers a little better. Well, I don't know. The shimmers in Jeffree Star were nicer. Well, I would say the shimmers in Jeffree Star were nicer, but the and the mattes were too. But I don't know. I just like this palette because it's more diverse. You know, you know what I mean? And it's ColourPop, so it's really good. It's really good. And also, I've had this longer, and it let me tell you something. I've had like some of their 9-pan palettes for a while that I've had to declutter because their pigmentation, and I've had this one longer than them, and their pigmentation just wasn't that good. I think they put a lot more. I think they put a lot more juice into the formula of their mega palettes than they do like their smaller palettes, because I mean, this has lasted me like at least 3 years now, and it's still very, very pigmented, whereas I've had to get rid of a lot of smaller palettes that I've had a lot less longer than this. So I don't know, you tell me what's going on. Okay, and also the next palette that I like a little bit more than the Cold Stone Fox is the I'll always pick warmer shades over cooler shades any day, but I love the Smoking Hot palette and all these beautiful oranges and reds in here. Makes a beautiful look. Love it, especially I'm feeling more warm shades in the summertime too, so that could be it as well. Okay, let me get some more palettes. Okay, coming in at number 12, we're getting close to the top. Now number 13, coming close to the top 10 is this. It is the Viseart Violette Vespertine palette. Of course, I'm always going to pick purples, cool tone purples, you know that. And my purples and pinks, probably over reds and oranges. And this is very nice. Viseart has a beautiful formula, very nice formula. I got this in earlier this year from a Beautylish Lucky Bag. This was the palette that was in there. And yeah, it is a very nice palette. I think this palette goes for like $44. I think that's a good deal for what you're getting, for the quality of it and the amount of shades you're getting. And I mean, at least it's not like $70 like some brands want to charge you. I mean, but in any case, this makes a variety of good looks, very nice looks, and I think it's a pretty good deal. I mean, for the brand, it's not luxury, but it's higher end. Very nice. And next we have ColourPop Off Melrose. I really like this palette too. I've used this several times. The only thing I don't like in it is that it has a glitter in it, and it's not one of those, you know how ColourPop makes like shimmers with glitter particles in it? I like those. This is just a straight up glitter though, and I don't like those. This is like a duochrome right here. It's got some gold in it. It has some lighter shades, has some mid-tone shades, has some darker shades, has some nice shimmers. Has everything that I like in a palette. So we've got that. We've got Off Melrose, right? Off Melrose right there. And then the next palette, we've got Paletopoly at number 11. This is by Ace Beauté as well. This palette is very, very well loved, but I like using these two rows most of all to get kind of a grungy look. When I'm doing like a collab and I use this, I like to use these rows. I don't use the blues that much, but I do like this shade right here. But this is I hardly ever play the Paletopoly game with it, but I do like to use this palette, but mainly when I'm using it for myself, I'll use these two rows to make kind of a grungy green look. So I really like the look that I came up with that one. Ace Beauté is a very good brand. Next is my old trusty Mary Jane palette. This palette and I've had a lot of history together. I've had this for a very long time. I have a very old video of me using this palette, and no, I did not hit pan on this. This, when I was doing a video on it one time, it exploded out of the pan, and yeah, I've had that happens to me a lot. Let me just say that happens to me a lot, where I'll be sitting here holding a palette and then a pan of eyeshadow just decides it wants to get up and walk away from it's had enough and it just wants to leave. It just wants to leave, and that's what happened here. So I don't like this or this. I don't like it, but the rest of the palette is perfection. It makes a really nice grungy look. I love this palette. I really do. And yeah, I've had it for several years and it's still kicking. So as long as I don't touch those two shades, we are golden. Okay, I have another melt palette. It is the Gemini palette. I just got this last year on a really good deal, and it is another grungy goodness palette, but I can tell that the two shimmers in here are nothing like those other two shimmers in that other palette. These don't look like they're gonna go for a walk, so I don't know. But anyway, I like a matte heavy palette in any case. So sometimes I will just use this palette and make just a matte look. This is it, number that was number 10. Mary Jane was number 10. So this is number 9. So we've got this going on. It makes a really, really pretty grungy look. And I am nothing if not loving a grunge look. So let me flip the page over here. And we've got number 8. That was number 9. This is number 8. It is a really small palette, but a very effective palette. It is the Dragon Eye palette. I think I did a Get Ready With Me with this one. And it is very beautiful and very shimmery, shiny. And it makes a very beautiful look. We've got pinks, we've got purples. What else do I need? We've got some duochromes. This looks green here, but no, that was green. This looks purple here. It looks kind of peachy when I look at it. Then we've got this color here that kind of changes color on you. And yeah, I keep poking at it. But this is very pretty. This is from What's Up Beauty. I don't think I said that. This is from What's Up Beauty. And I love the artwork on this. This is raised up so you can feel the texture on it. This is a very beautiful palette. I love this palette. This palette is really cool. Okay, another older palette that I used that I really love, oops, the wrong way, is the Metamorphosis palette by Lethal Cosmetics. You can see the moth on there, and this is what it looks like. This has some really cool duochromes in it as well, and this makes a really nice summertime look. And it's probably one of my favorite. This and the Wildflower palette, which is more of a purple palette, are probably my favorite Lethal Cosmetics palettes. Although I know they've put out so many palettes lately. I just have not kept up with Lethal Cosmetics lately. I think the last palette I bought from them was the Night Flower one. So I have not been keeping up with them. Okay, let me get the last of the palette. Okay, I have been trying to keep up with Blend Bunny Cosmetics though. I've got a couple more of the palettes in here. And I bought the Machina palette. And oh my gosh. This palette, I used this row and this column together to make a look. And it was the most beautiful look I think I've made all month. It's not at the top. It's not at the top, but I absolutely loved the look I made with this palette. And yeah, of course I want to play with the purples and the pinks and all that, but these two, I just wanted to do something different, do a look. I wanted to do a look for Instagram, so that's why I used these two together. So, but the Blend Bunny is nothing but consistent. I mean, maybe their older palettes might lose a little of their spunk, but, and I'm gonna get to another one in their palette, but this palette is definitely, and I got this on sale too. I got this for like $15. I got this for a song. Oh my gosh. And yeah, this, absolutely recommend it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just getting a little overexcited there. Okay, next is from a new brand called Mad Witch Cosmetics, and this is their breakout palette called The Star. And this is what it looks like. And I've done a couple of looks for Instagram for this palette. If you ever want to see all the looks I'm doing for Project Palette 365, then head over to my Instagram. There's a link down in the description box, and go follow me over on Instagram. And every week, like on Sunday or Monday, I will post all the looks that I did for the week for Project Palette 365. And yeah, you can keep up with me and that project there. But otherwise, I won't mention it here unless I'm doing one of these monthly roundups. So, and then So this made some really pretty looks with this. Made a purple look, made a green look with it. I need to do a blue look next with it if I'm going to do another one. But yeah, this is a brand new indie brand that you should check out on Instagram at Mad Witch Cosmetics. And yeah, this was a very, very beautiful palette, very beautiful formula. And that was at number 5. We're still in the very high category of palettes. And then next is the Blend Bunny Longing palette. Look at this color story. Isn't this beautiful? I love these greens, and love this grunge over here, and of course love these purples and blues. I just love this. Isn't this just absolutely beautiful? I can't remember exactly the look that I made, but I remember I loved it. It wasn't as impactful as that Machina look. But I do remember that this was a really beautiful look. I do remember that I loved the formula. I rank palettes as I use them, and I just remember loving this one so much. This is the Longing palette by Blend Bunny Cosmetics. And then, so it's like every day I'll use the palette and then I'll go and rank it against all the other palettes. I don't rank these like at the end of the month. I rank them as I go. So the next palette I have is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Y'all know I love me some Natasha Denona. And so this is my basic bitch palette of the month. And it just makes some really nice work looks, which is what I appreciate. What I need from a palette is to give me some nice basic B looks. And it's just a very beautiful formula. Love me some Natasha Denona. Love gold. Love golden brown looks, especially in the summertime. And I love this packaging too. Even though it's all handsy looking right now, but I don't know. I just something about this palette that I really love. Okay, we're down to number 2 now, and I made a look on. I made a look where I used this, and I did Get Ready With Me for Work, where I used this and kind of used the red colors, but then I used it on a makeup club live stream, and I used the blues and the yellows, and that's when I really fell in love with this palette. We're using the blues and the yellows together. So this is a nice fall palette. It is the Fuji 5 Lakes palette by Nomad, and I hope I've been saying the names of all of these palettes through this thing. But this is what we've got right here. And it is just a beautiful palette. I'm glad that it has the blues. I'm glad it has the yellows and the reds all together. I think this is one of their more unique color stories. I really like it. I really like this. So, and there's no like colors thrown in that kind of throws it off. Like sometimes when they'll do a palette, they'll throw in a color that just kind of like throws the whole palette off, but they didn't do that with this one, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. So this is number 2, and look at this. This is also raised up. It feels like an oil painting. It's so beautiful. And then I do have a cool tone palette in at number 1, and I used this. It must have been early on in the month. I think I used this for Get Ready With Me. This is the Solmani 2 Moon Wish palette, but it was highest. It's very highest. Both the Nomad and the Solmani 2 got the very highest ranking. And I used this palette. I think I made a purple blue look with it. I don't think I used the yellows on it, but this is, like I said, I can't remember the look I made. I should have gone back and looked at my photos on my phone, but I do remember the feeling I had when I made this look. I remember thinking, I just wish I could make this eye look every day. I did love the look that I made with that Machina palette. But if I had an everyday look that I could wear every day, I would make it with this palette, because it made it such a very pretty look. and that's why I know that this one would be at number 1. So this is the Soul Money 2 Moonwish palette, and that is all the palettes that I have for the month of August 2024. Thank you for being here with me to go through all of these palettes. Let me know what palettes you have been enjoying or not enjoying, as it may be. Let me know down in the comments section. Please leave a comment and let me know. Just tell me hi and tell me how it's been going, because engagement really helps push out my videos out into the algorithm. Now that I am monetized, I want to help me get even more followers and stuff. So I mean, commenting really helps with that. It helps with engagement. Please give this also a big thumbs up. That helps as well. If you feel so inclined, please share this out with friends and family if you think they might enjoy it. All the good stuff. And I hope you're all doing well. And like I said, I'm going to be doing less content lately, but I'm hoping to be doing better content, hopefully. And yeah, thank you all for watching again, and have a very great day. Good vibes to everybody out there. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Okay, goodbye.